Wake up.
Let's wake up.
Good morning, everybody.
And what a beautiful morning it
And
is.
smell the coffee.
Let's get started, shall we?
Wake up and smell the coffee. On the Coffee Morning Drive, 98.9 in Victor FM.
Perceptions could change. Opinions can be formed with more and accurate information. Get all sides, views, and opinions on topical issues. Have your say on Perspectives. With Twin Alabi at 9 a.m. Mondays to Fridays on Invicta 98.9 FM. Perspectives. All sides, all views, all individuals are welcome.
Good morning and welcome to the program Perspectives. This morning we're staying in Kaduna State, and it's about the opposition, strong as it is, and what is coming out from we're seeing the primaries, and what is coming out for the PDP. That's our area of focus this morning as we get ready to for the governorship position. The PDP and how ready it is, to change the situation in Kaduna State. My guest this morning is the PDP stalwart in Kaduna State, Dr. Usman Abdulrahaman, here with me, PDP stalwart, and of course, an analyst, so to say, public affairs analyst that gives his views on issues coming out from the national, state to local government levels. Dr. Abdulrahaman, good morning. Glad to have you here with us.
It's my pleasure, Tony Alabi.
Yes.
Good morning, listeners.
All right. My focus would be on the PDP and what is coming out, from what we're getting, results that are coming out. How impressed are you with, talking about the primaries as we're seeing them and what we're getting here? Are you impressed and confident that the PDP may make a big change?
I was deeply involved in part of the process because I was the chairman of the screening appeal committee for National and State House of Assembly for Jigawa State. I was in Dulce day before yesterday to conduct the primary election for the State House of Assembly for Jigawa State. So I was part of the process, and of course to the feelers from across the country and particularly Kaduna State has shown that democracy is thriving in PDP. For instance, in Jigawa State, for the screening appeals committee, there was nothing to even consider because there were no appeals. That tells you that everybody was contented with the mood and how the election went on. For the House of Assembly election, which I was the chairman of this primaries, the same thing too. And largely, as I speak to you for now, to the best of my knowledge, we've not heard of issues of appeals against either the screening or even the election proper itself. And you see, I've always said it that the APC are always looking forward to the PDP to be schooled in the art of democracy. You can see what is happening in Kaduna State, for instance, just at the background, in the characteristic style of an emperor writing the list of delegates within the comforts of his bedroom. It has happened before where we were there, and it has happened again, and that is why we have people like Shaban crying out aloud about the whole process. In fact, even the chairperson of the delegate primary election has been declared wanted by a faction of the APC. So that is to tell you how bad it is. I was never declared wanted in all my assignments. You see, and it's been very peaceful. We thank God Almighty for it.
Yeah, also, yes, again, I ask that your knowledge, and you've moved around, jumped ship, crossed carpet, and
I jumped only once, so it's not really moving around. I stumbled, and I found my feet again.
I mean, that's you get that in politics, right?
I stumbled. We were deceived by the one who was on the soapbox and was crying and telling Nigerians that the cost of living index was so unbearable for the common man that the common man cannot even afford just one packet of spaghetti, that he was going to change the naira exchange rate, 1 naira to $1 and what have you. You build modular refineries every year. All sorts of promises that you can name them. And he was crying too that ASU was on strike. And even his Minister of Education was one of those who was really hammering on the government of President Goodluck Jonathan. But today, strike has become synonymous with the regime of General Buhari, as it happened in 1984 when he was head of state. So it too is happening now. Consistently it's been happening all over and over again. Our schools have been virtually closed for over a full academic calendar when you put all the number of days that we have lost under the Buhari regime, this particular tenure. So can we say that we are moving the country forward? A country that places school feeding as priority above capital and recurrent funding for our educational sector tells you that the government is not serious. They place priority on very amorphous areas that cannot really be scrutinized. Because I don't see why so much funding for the school feeding program to the detriment of the system itself. The integrity of the system itself, what maintains it to run the schools. So it tells you that we are not getting it right. We don't have leaders who really know what leadership is. That is my view.
Again, general overview now, and this is about the PDP's strong opposition, no doubt about it. And of course, we're looking at why the PDP wants to come back. Well, regrets are there, and again, to right the wrongs that the PDP was known for, and so the PDP making very strong moves and intentions to come back. But from what you're seeing generally, are you getting feelers that yes, the PDP can make a comeback? And I'm talking about at the national level, because again, our attention this morning would be on what is coming out from the state. But I just want you to look at it, that serious comeback.
When last did you ply Kaduna Abuja Road?
What has happened? People ply the roads every day.
I ask you, when last did you ply the road?
No cause to ply the road.
Salavi. I know before you used to frequent Abuja for 1 or 2
It's
days.
not about me, Dr.
But
Osman.
no, you are a typical example. You are in Nigeria.
Yes, I'm
you are
just
in Nigeria.
talking about
so we should talk about ourselves.
The impetus that the PDP.
So what I'm just trying to say is that the level of insecurity has gone so much that we've crossed the red line. Today, Nigeria has been ascribed as the third most terrorized state. Today, Kaduna State has had the toga of being the kidnapping hub of Nigeria. But of course, even the Governor El-Rufai himself has cried out aloud that Boko Haram and ISWAP are moving to Kaduna State. But I say too, it's part of the problem. When you hike the school fees of tertiary institutions to the point that children of the downtrodden cannot afford to go to school, then what are you doing? Government policies itself that does not rob, governance that does not rob on the citizenry, governance that is only seen in just 5 local governments of the state, in which the local governments have been consigned to the background. They are not having the feel of democracy, in which the local governments, funds of the local government have been taken over by the state government under so-called partnership and what have you. I thank God for the recent ruling that we had yesterday on the suit instituted by the Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit. They must be called to account. And certainly, when we get there, 2023, they will account.
This is not to say again that people would not recall what had happened when the PDP was on the saddle, and Nigerians are not in a hurry to forget all of that. But we're talking about choices now, that the choices we make would again from 2023 tell about what we expect and what to come for Nigerians. So we cannot forget that. So in terms of exonerating the mistakes of the past, Nigerians are not in a hurry to forget that.
You see, Alavi, I'm sorry to say, I'm feeling so hot here. The Nigerian situation. See, I came here, I should have put on my gown, but I can't just put it on. The problems are too numerous. The looting is something else. I think these our leaders, they need to undergo psychiatric
And
test.
so that did not happen
Because
in your time.
in our time, we didn't have an accountant general, snitching 110 billion to himself. And of course, he has started singing like a canary, talking of other people high up within the government. And even the person that was brought in to replace him is under the radar of the EFCC. I'm sure you must have learned of the case of the DG of Nimasa, whose account about 1.5 trillion was found there. And a lot of, you see, the level of looting is so crazy that I begin to wonder, do they have brains? Are they robots? Because you begin to think that if these people are just...
Has that never happened in your time?
The extent is so much.
Is the extent now in
because
terms of
it is gone so...
quantifying and qualifying.
Yeah,
Now,
you know, as if there's no tomorrow, as if they will live here forever. As if there's no judgment thereafter.
People say that standards were set, the time of the PDP, and so what would be so surprising about what is happening now?
Why do we have this so much emphasis on the school feeding program? Is it not part of the game? So, you see, I am really disturbed. Just one person in government. Only recently, a federal high court in Lagos notified the acts of the Attorney General on the seizure and sale of assets. And we will be hearing so much, though not confirmed yet because so far that a court has not pronounced, but it was being rumored that all the cars that he was distributing when he was aspiring for the governorship of Pdp State were proceeds from seizures. So abuse of public office is so much entrenched in this government, as if we don't have a leader that can call these people to order. You look at the issue of the resignation of ministers too, in which rather than Malami to resign, decided to file a suit. Well, when you now take your personal issues to make it to be issues of governance, then we've lost it. That is why the call for the separation of the office of the Attorney General of the Federation from the Attorney General of the federal government, I think, is well situated and should be given speedy consideration in our constitutional review.
Let's come back to Kaduna State, your principal, and that's talking about aspiring to be governor of the state.
Governor to be by special grace of God.
So much on his back, and so much that people say that again it's coming around, and of course that PDP, whether rightly or wrongly, that it could make a difference. Yeah, but your principal is one of the key persons that may not make PDP get its gains in Kaduna State.
Why do you think so?
So much that has been put on him.
You see, literally, when you are the leading candidate, you are the man to beat. Every attack dog focuses on you.
Because again,
they focus on Right Honorable Isa Shuru to the extent that they want to rewrite our jurisprudence.
Is PDP not factionalized in Kaduna State?
It's not.
With what is coming out?
Where are the factional offices? It is natural for people to want to take advantage over the other. But you see, for us that are with my principal, Right Honorable Isa Shuru, you hardly hear him, the principal himself, talking about other candidates. He's busy concerned about what can we do to change the narrative.
I mean, you're not worried again about imposition in Kaduna State.
Which imposition did you have?
Yes, because again, the factions that are coming out.
Which imposition did you have, and when did
you insist that he has to be the one that it was tried, and it didn't bring the results that PDP would have wanted.
You see, what is the pedigree of these other people that you are talking about? Take them one by one. Is it the one?
Is it wrong to aspire to be under your party?
Is it wrong to aspire?
I'm asking. Yes.
No, I'm coming. Is it wrong for Isa Shuru to ventilate his interest? Is he not entitled to?
And the others too.
They are. And we don't quarrel about that. We have no qualms about it. But they are trying to say that Isa should not even be allowed to contest. Why?
Because of the so much that he carries on his back that may affect the success of the party.
So much that they are alleged to favor them without any cogent and verifiable facts to prove. I wonder how people will come on air to a radio station or go on the social media you say that Issa has a certificate scandal. How? The burden of proof in our jurisprudence is for he who alleges to prove. Mine and those, I'm sorry that somebody of his intellectual background and somebody who is well versed in the teachings of the Quran and the Hadith and Sunnah should come so low to the way that he has done. But it's unfortunate at times too. You have high expectations about people.
For a man like me, can you rubbish him and what he has said?
Because what he has said,
or what?
Why not? Because you see, like I said, he made an allegation that Isa has deficiency in his academic qualifications. What I have expected of him, and truly as a Muslim, when you allege, you will have brought out the proof to say, X, this is it. These are the facts. These are the points. You had a press conference, a sponsored press conference by the El-Rufai regime, because it was after he had a bloody nose after losing out at the primaries. You know, at that primary election that we had then in 2018, that was 2018, October, if I can recollect very well, Isa gathered 1,330 votes. Hunkwi, came second, got 564 votes. Sani Sidi got 560 votes. If you put their votes together, they are not even as much as what Isa had. Ramallah, of course, got 36 votes. And you know, before even the primaries, Miners also chickened out of the primaries. And after chickening out of the primaries and seeing that Isa had emerged, became so envious and went ahead at the prompt of the APC government, made those kind of spurious allegations. Until today, now, for your information, just on the 9th of May this year, Justice Kabir Dabo of the Dogara Divisional High Court of Kaduna State gave a pronouncement in a suit that was filed by somebody, one Isa Abdullahi, who claimed to be a member of the PDP, alluding that he was worried that should the PDP fly somebody like Isa Ashiru with his deficiencies and not being qualified to contest. And the matter was challenged in court. And the court ruled in favor of Ashiru that there is no proof to justify such claim, and there is no inkling of iota of truth in what had been alleged, and ordered him to tender an apology in not less than 3 national dailies, of which he had done so in Daily Trust, Leadership, and I think this day. You know, on the contrary too, Isa Ashiru filed a suit which is being tried before Justice Edward Ando of the Kaduna State High Court, Kaduna Judicial Division. What has been happening since then? What has been happening is that the lawyer of Minor or Minor's camp, they've been trying to, make it impossible for the court to go into the issues before it by bringing up frivolous motions to preempt the court from serving justice to both parties. Because when you say justice is not just for he who alleged, it's also for he who is defending, you know. And at the last count, if I could recall very much, they brought a frivolous motion asking for the judge to disqualify himself. This matter had not even gone to pre-trial conference proper. So what are you alleging that the judge was ruling in favor of whom and how? That was the issue. And the step that was taken further by the judge and by the lawyer to Isa, very unprofessional, very uncouth, very crude, very raw. And in fact, I believe the NBA ought to even sanction Barrister Sadi.
You went into the zone or territory that is not.
No, because he wrote what I'm saying.
Area.
Excuse me. So, what I'm trying to say. Listen to it. Just let me say. Because what he did is in the public glare. He wrote to the national headquarters of the PDP, telling them that they should not clear Isa Ashiru, because if they do, it will be an exercise in futility. That is to say, he is writing the judgment for the court, a matter that had not been decided, and there had not been any injunction or any order by the court. So to say, it is very unprofessional for a lawyer to take up the role of a judge in a matter that you are even a defendant. You understand my point? So that tells you that the real intent of the whole matter is to prevent Ashiru from contesting the 2019 election. Not whether truly they were actually right, or they had the facts as to be able to prove that Isa had issues with his academic qualifications.
Our concern here, and your concern, I should say, would be that all of these that's been said, wouldn't that this have an effect, on, the possibility of having, PDP come to power? And I'm talking about if all of these, we've not had the last of these. We've not.
People who have discernible minds can always shift the grain from the shaft. Before you go to file a suit against somebody, challenging what he or she has said against you, first of all, you must prove before the court. You must avail the court of your facts. And I happen to be one of those very few people who saw the certified true copies of all the academic qualifications of Hashiru. You see, rather than this cheap practice, market kangaroo practice of men and Zozo, what they have done, what they should have done would have been rightly to apply to all the institutions that Isa had applied to, had been to, and get their facts. Then query those facts that
Dr.
they have,
Usman,
and then avail the public. But that they have refused to do because they know they don't have any issue at that.
We are in a campaign season, and you know that opponents or people that aspire to get to what he wants to for himself will go about telling the electorate about who
we must tell
what
the
he
truth,
is, and
but we must tell
what
the
this
truth.
would do
But you
to
see,
the minds.
but you see, we must we must tell the truth to the electorate.
What about the damage?
Not the innuendos. Okay,
what about the
let
damage?
me give you an example. For those
that
who,
this could do to
for
you.
those there's no for those who have been here, the Bodams, the Ishaq Al Hassan and co, who have come to say all sorts of innuendos against our principal. I ask, does Sadisi did not have a case against, before the FCC? A 15 billion naira charge has been slammed against him. That is still ongoing. Should Kaduna State have a candidate who does not have a clean bill of health from the FCC? Isa Hashiru has a clean bill of health from the FCC. He's been in government for all the period he served. He was found fit. There was nothing at all. So that one, to even think of that, an existing thing, not an allegation. At least whatever it is, he has not been cleared by the EFCC. That is a very clear thing. That they cannot run away from that. So
are you talking to the electorate now? Talking to the
I'm talking to the electorate.
Talking to the
so I'm talking to I'm speaking to delegates of the PDP who will be voting tomorrow. They should not vote somebody who has the sword of Damocles of the EFCC hanging over his neck. That is Rock of Gilbraltar. We should not. We should follow people who have integrity. We should go for people who have proved to be loyal party members. We should go for people who have been truly tested and trusted as Democrats. What do I mean here? Isa Hashiru has contested election record 5 times. Has won election record 5 times from zero party, 2 times at the State House of Assembly level, 2 times at the level of the House of Representatives. Let them tell us how many elections has Sani Sidi won. I know he took part in a primary election in Niger State. He lost at the primary election. He didn't even go to the general election. Which general election has he won? So what popularity can he ascribe to say that he's popular? And we know too that in 2019, the votes that were amassed by Isa Hashiru was far. In fact, the truth is that Isa Hashiru won the election in 2019, but the use of state machinery to snitch the victory, to deny the people of their votes, they did not allow the votes to count. Because, Mr. Alabi, we went to court, and we asked that the votes be recounted. But the judiciary denied us. He went as far as the Supreme Court, and somebody will come and be saying bunkum here to say that he sold his mandate. Sold to whom? Who bought? How much?
I asked you earlier.
Where is the evidence?
The factionalization in the PDP camp, and
it's not a faction.
It's not a faction.
Because when you look at
people,
when you talk of a faction, there must be leadership of that faction across the state level, right from the state
from the state to the national level.
Or level of the party?
Yes.
I don't know. Which faction do you have? Who is the head of the faction at the national level?
We'll come back after this break.
Who is the head of the faction at the national
Dr.
level?
Usman, we'll come back after this break. It's perspectives this morning, and we're looking at the PDP, and of course, making a strong, shot at the governorship election in Kaduna State, and of course. With me this morning, Dr. Usman Abdulrahaman, PDP stalwart, public affairs analyst, again, giving his shot to situations in Kaduna State and, of course, looking at the chances of those vying and coming out, for the PDP and would want to make a statement here. We'll come back after this break.
We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. Are you serious? Victor FM.
We are the station that all the stations listen to. Invicta 98.9
FM.
Welcome back. Is the program Perspectives. This morning, Dr. Abdulrahaman Usman with me in the studios and stalwart PDP, strong man. And of course, making a case for his principle here this morning. We've had cases like that, but concerns here would be about the wranglings in the PDP. And of course, tomorrow could just be seen as a decisive day for this party too, and for his principle. Dr. Abdulrahaman, you will be talking as it is now. You're talking to the electorate.
I'm talking to the delegates who have the votes tomorrow.
Yes, talking to the electorate, talking to the delegates to see your principle as the man that will be there, the man that attention should be on. But again, I would still like to clear the grounds on your principle and selling him to the candidates, and of course getting ready for the electorate too, who will decide on where he goes. For you, all these wranglings that we have, and because we've had one, we've had two, and we've had more than two coming to the studios to talk about your principle.
All sponsored.
I don't get.
Sponsored by some aspirants who are having sleepless nights, that if Isa Ashuru is on the ballot, they cannot get it. They cannot get there. That is why you should imagine, why are they not taking on Ramalan? Why are they not taking on Shehu Sani? Why is it Ashuru? They came to your studios.
Ashuru is the man to beat, right?
Of course. He's the one that has been there with the party all through. He's the one who stood by the party that we had our state congress, our congresses, right from the ward to the local governments, that produce the escorts of the party. It's the one that has been largely, ensuring the existence of the PDP in Kaduna State, along with His Excellency, Senator Ahmed Muhammad Makarfi. We know one of our top shots who had to be told that they don't even know him in PDP in Abuja. But these are the people who have stood with the party all through consistently. We've been with the party. So it is payback time for somebody who has been with the party all through, somebody who consistently partakes in the financing of the activities of the party. Practically each and every day, every step the party takes, Isa is there for the party. And of course, naturally, is a leader in the party, because by the constitution of our party, the gubernatorial candidate at the last election before the next one is a recognized leader of the party. Until another primaries is held to produce another candidate. So he has rightly, filled that void and played the role that is expected of him as a leader. So I think it is payback time for him. We went around the state, to meet with the delegates and even the people. But whereas the Sani cities and co, they go and stay in one senatorial headquarters and tell the delegates to come and meet them. They don't even want to feel the pulse of the people. But we went there to know the problems of the people, the various locations across the state, so that it could help us in planning ahead, to have a one-on-one discussion about the party, to see how we can ensure that we weave unity in the party, preach message of peace. And that was the message we carried all through the 22 local governments that we could visit, except for Beningwari, in which, because of the security situation, which it has been exhausted from Kaduna State, the delegates from that local government had to come to Kaduna, and we had an interface with them. How many aspirants have done that? Now they came about, they were saying that Right Honorable Ashiru was indicted by the Kaduna State Board of Internal Revenue. And this man is on pension. You cannot pardon somebody who was not indicted, who was not proclaimed guilty by a judicial panel or a court of competent jurisdiction. Why is that ever done? If they claim it is true, let them produce the Gazette where it was so published to say that Isa Ashiru has been pardoned for XYZ offense. That is the natural course of governance. You see, they come here and talk down on people as if they abuse their intelligence, our intelligence, but it's theirs that they actually
You just have a right of reply.
Because what I'm trying to say, because what I'm trying to say is to belittle us, to say that we don't have brains to think. We cannot, shift the graph from the chain when somebody comes and makes all sorts of innuendos.
All that matters for us.
Our candidate Ashiru has never had to port from his senatorial zone to another just because of the loss for power. He has remained in his senatorial zone all along. He has done so much for the entire state within the interface of the time he had opportunity to be in government, particularly when he was head of appropriation committee at the state, and even when he was vice chairman of the appropriation committee at the National Assembly, House of Reps. He impacted numerously across the state in terms of bringing projects. But we know of those that were there in disaster management. And when we had all sorts of disasters in Southern Kaduna, didn't come to the rescue. It is only now that they are looking for power that they now remember that, we have displaced persons. You remember the Bethel issue? How many aspirants went there? Apart from our candidate and Sheikh Usani, I cannot recall any gubernatorial aspirant visiting them. And it has been consistently like that. The one at Zangon Kataf, he was there. So he's not a seasonal politician or somebody who goes to, align with the people when it comes to the season of elections or primaries.
Let's talk about the delegates. Very important now because, of course, they would make the difference.
Yes.
So, how well have you walked into the minds of the delegates? I'm looking at this and I'm bringing this forward.
What was the essence of our statewide tour?
Yes, that you could have done that. Yes.
The essence of our statewide tour.
What I'm saying, because again, what has been said about delegates is that these are people that you can buy over. These are people that you can work on their minds to see differences. How sure, what is it that the confidence
for me,
delegates?
For me, I'm very sure of our delegates on the party doing the needful. They've proved that before in the past, and I believe they will prove it again. What do I mean? In 2018, when we had the primaries in October, Sani CD spent money far in excess of what our candidate spent, followed by our former party member and my friend, Senator Hunkwi, came second in terms of the spending. So it's shocking
today that you left your friend. That you I don't know if you're still friends, but again, knowing you and
it's not my enemy.
Your friend.
It's not my enemy either. It's not my enemy either. But politically, we are not together. Our umbilical cord has been separated politically. But he remains my friend because a friend of over 45 or 50 years. Right from our formative years. I cannot say Hunkwi is not my friend. If you do certain things against Hunkwi, you can, incur my wrath. I'm telling you. So, just to say it the way I'm putting it to you, I trust the judgment of our delegates in shifting the grain for the chaff, in deciding, looking at parameters of loyalty to the party, which is very, very critical. Looking in terms of commitment, looking in terms of somebody who is with the party, not somebody who is somehow being sponsored at the background by the ruling party. Because some of the antics you are hearing all over are issues that are being sponsored by the ruling party. Because what is really troubling them, the nightmare they are having, is that if an Ashiru should come as the candidate of the PDP, you know what it even took the SAR. It is not that the SAR defeated him in 2019. He didn't defeat him, not to talk about Obasani that will be a cheap one by 12 o'clock. It will be done and dusted. We have a candidate with a very high moral value, a family man, a traditionalist, respected by the Zaza Emirate Council for his numerous contributions to the society, and bestowed on him the traditional title of Serkin Zozo.
Well, again, the program is Perspectives, and it's a right of reply that we're having this morning. And Dr. Abdulrahaman Usman here.
And furthermore, you can see the kick of a dying horse. Before an election, you come to the media, you say that the party is trying to impose a candidate. How? These elections that we have in PDP, just like I told you, I was in Jigawa to conduct the primary election for the State House of Assembly. The elections are not being conducted by the party. The elections are being conducted by panels put in place by the National Organizing Secretary that are posted to states outside their own place of domiciliation. Just like I went to Jigawa. So if you see somebody start already crying wolf when even the first stone has not been casted, well, you didn't do a good job. When they came and alleged, you should have asked them how. If you say that somebody or they are trying to impose, how are they trying to impose? How? It's just like when we had our state congress the other time, when I was a member of the state caretaker committee. That was the most transparent election ever had in the history of the PDP. Even the primaries we had in 2018 was one of the most transparent, and that was why there was no court issue at all on the primary election. So you see, when people lose, we should try to be good Democrats. We should try to be good losers. And when you feel that if you don't have it, you should rock the boat, it shows that you don't have what it takes for leadership. Because leadership is about giving to the society, it's about putting the larger collective interest above your personal interest. So, but unfortunately, we have these people who only think within their own cocoon, to the point that now they say that they have to write fresh laws for the country in which what they say should be taken as the law. And we should forget about the norm that he who alleges must have to prove. You understand my point? They should have focused their emphasis on proving on whatever they want to allude to against our candidate. And we don't embark on smear campaign. When we talk about the other people, we talk about things that are facts. Because when I say the issue of the EFCC, the issue of the EFCC is there in the public domain. It's not a fake news. It is there. Everybody knows about it. So that is how we do our own things.
It's a program Perspectives this
politics
morning,
about issues, and the better.
Here with me, Dr. Abdulrahaman Usman,
and the better you do
in the state, and of course, here again with the right of reply to comments that have been said that we've had about his principle. And of course, again, what we're doing now would be about the delegates and what's coming up tomorrow, and also will be about the electorate too, to form, make up their minds about.
So the electorate should query whatever they are saying. They should challenge them to come up with proof, not just come and talk down the electorate. Because what they are doing, to my mind, is talking down the electorates, taking them for granted.
Be part of this conversation. Talk to us on 081 40,000 989, 081 40,000 989, or 070 800 989, 070 800 989. The PDP, strong opposition, and of course, wanting to make a difference this time around, and to come back to what could happen and what to expect. All right, I'm taking your calls now. 081 40,000 989. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Toya.
Good morning.
Doctor, good morning. My name is Musa Bala.
Musa Bala.
Oh, my friend.
Hey, how are you?
I know you attack. You are always tagged against my name. You're welcome, Musa. I've been expecting you.
Thank you very much. It's also I don't think I laugh in my language, and I even laugh in the language of my neighbor because his language is good to laugh. When you laugh in his language, it's good. It reminds me of what late Senator Mantu have said about how PDP rig all their elections. And at the same time, the fake server that you deployed 2019, you have already won the election before the election took place. I believe that Issa Shuru and all your principals will still be winning election, so long that election is being held in the social media, Twitter and Facebook. But in the real election, Mantu have explained how you people are winning election. On the East, still in Kaduna, what stops you from going to court immediately when Professor Sani Bello have accused your candidate of fake certificate? It took you so long What have you been doing that long? Are you amending the certificate of what? And lastly, I wish you safe return home on the beautiful roads to Banawa and to your studio. Thank you very much.
Musabala. Okay, so I'll still take your calls, and of course, you can still join us on our Facebook
good morning,
page.
Mr. Twala.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
You are on to Engineer Manuel. I think your guest has spoken very well. I just want to ask one question. If in all indication we are told that Isa Ashuru won the election in 2019, so what stopped the PDP to put all machinery in place to regain their mandate the way other people do regain their mandate? So what stopped them? Because I don't want an issue that has passed. Now, how you people should strategize how to win election 2023. What happened is if you people are still referring that you people won, I think the court is there. Or did they manipulate the court that they still deny you people your mandate? That is on that. I have nothing against Isha Ashuru. Now, I want to ask you people something. How are you people going to fill this primary? Now, we saw a lot of people. Now you say Isa Ashuru is the best candidate. Does it mean that the rest are not good candidates?
Also of the PDP.
The people of the PDP are they not good candidates? So I think you people should put your house in order. That's why there are other political parties that will come up on that election day. Okay. But I will want the PDP to put their house in order. Let anybody that emerge, that they should give them the full support. Okay. Unless all the contenders go and contest and we'll take the day.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Good morning. I will still take one more call before I come to Dr. Abdulrahaman. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Justin, and good morning to your guest.
Morning.
This is Sam calling you from Rome.
Sam, right?
Yes.
Okay, Sam.
I listened to your guest and you have spoken well with the grassroots. We know what is happening and even presently what has been going on. But my question to him is, have they really gotten the feelers from the grassroots that whoever the elite then up there really needed to be there, maybe like Ashiru or whoever they need to? Have they gotten the grassroots feelers that from the grassroots that is what the people really need so that they will not make mistake of the past? You up there, you pick somebody, but from the grassroots, it's not really welcome or recognized. Okay. So that is where the assignment I want them to carry out. Let them really get in, because people are tired of the present government. I have to be frank with you. Because of what they are doing, to push you from where you are trading, where you say you want to manage, you will come there and demolish whatever you are managing. So people are somehow tired. I'm not speaking on maybe party issue, but general feelings of the people from the grassroots. As a government, you are there for the people. Do not just do that for yourself.
All right, Sam, thank you. Well, I am sure that these are the people that I'm also talking to this morning, the electorate, because Sam happens to be waiting. That have you gotten the feelers from the people about all of it? But tomorrow is Ashiru or whoever would come, But again, let me just come.
Let me start with my tag teammate, sponsored by the APC, always monitoring me, Musabala. Anyway, it's not a delegate tomorrow. I start from there. On the issue of what he raised about why now on the court case filed by Isa Ashiru, there's never any time too late to right any wrong. That is number one. I know for sure that for close to a year and a half, there had been a lot of on the ground, discussions, pleas by associates of minor that the case should not go to court. Even at one time in the recent past, even the lawyer of minors also even urged that we should try to seek a reconciliatory path. So that is to tell you that there were issues that were responsible for the delay in filing the case. And after all, the important thing is that it is never too late at any time to file for reparations for any wrong meted to an individual. That is as for Musabala. Talking as for the
Engineer
Emmanuel about regaining our mandate, he shows that he has not been following very well. In 2019, we went to court. We exercised that our option up to the level of the Supreme Court, which is the farthest one could go. But again, as everybody knows, the spate of what we have in the judiciary that has been so bastardized by the APC government, a lot of things happen. We were denied our right to have the votes.
Talking about a competent court of jurisdiction.
Jurisdiction, yes.
Yes.
They denied us. They denied the people of Kaduna State the right. I'm coming.
No.
There was no reason. Excuse me. There was no reason in Kogi State. In Kogi State, the same judiciary. The same judiciary allowed the vote to recount, but we are denied in Kaduna State. Why? That is the question. In the same judiciary. Judiciary is one, whether it's Kogi or judiciary is one. The same privilege that was given, the same right that was given to our candidate in Kogi to have a vote recount was denied us in Kaduna. Why? That is the big question. Why? That is the issue. So that is to talk about the issue of regaining our mandate. About the grassroots. Well, we have always been in touch with the grassroots. And
that's Sam.
Yes. And the feelers, from what you can see from the outcome of the local government elections, that points clearly that the people of Kaduna State are clearly fed up with the APC government. They want change. And that change can only come through via voting candidates of the PDP onto power. We were robbed of victory in several instances by the obnoxious law that was promulgated, the Electoral Act of El-Rufai, which is unprecedented in the history of Nigeria, in which he limited the time frame of the tribunal intentionally. In other climes or other states, you have about 3 panels taking care of each senatorial zone. But the whole way, it was kind of, I don't know, what is like a film, a thespian act, because we had the members of the tribunal giving very long days of adjournment as if it was a normal court. So it was a script. Anyway, I'm in court.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is coming from the PDP.
I'm in court, challenging the victory of the chairman of Kaduna North local government. You will hear from me very soon about that.
Okay.
The court sat yesterday for mentioning.
Yeah, for time, Dr. Abdulrahaman. Let's Joy. What's coming up from our Facebook page now?
All right, we have a message here from Zachariah John Dam. He says, as a Christian, my Bible tells me that a house divided among itself cannot stand. It is unfortunate that PDP are still having issues among themselves that are supposed to have been settled by now since 2019. Why can't PDP consider the option of a consensus candidate, looking at their past indices of 2015 and 2019? The major challenge of PDP is the very candidates they are presenting to the electorate. I think they should learn more on how to play opposition politics and strategies.
Dr. Abraham.
Well, you see, the issue of wranglings in-house, if I were in APC, I would do what you
were there. You once were there.
If I were in APC now, I would do what El-Rufai is doing now, sponsoring people within the PDP to cause dissonance within the party. It's part of the game plan. We know of candidates that were financed by El-Rufai for primary elections and that have been financed even in this present one for the governorship. They are working, in cahoot with Ubasani and some other people. Those details we shall spew in the very distant future. And somebody came from a house, to come and cause dissonance in the PDP, and he will go back to that same house he came from when he lose election in his usual tradition. Just watch it.
An aside here, El-Rufai stands out as one person that gives the PDP a serious nightmare. And so for this concluding his term this time, you're happy about that.
Which nightmare?
That we're saying, because
the nightmare of injustice, the nightmare of authoritarian rule, the nightmare of authoritarian rule, the nightmare of sequestrating resources of the state, taking it outside the state, the nightmare of demolitions, the nightmare of massive retrenchment of citizens.
The minds of the people. You are not speaking for the people.
Nightmare
you are not talking for the people.
Of the Toga we have as the kidnapping hub of Nigeria.
That's strongly your opinion.
The nightmare of preventing the children of the downtrodden from having access to quality education. Dear delegates, I passionately appeal to you that as you go out to vote tomorrow, you should consider first and foremost loyalty to the party. You should consider capacity. You should consider somebody that has been tested and trusted. You should not fall for the flat, cheap blackmail or people who come to say all sorts of things on the social media that cannot render any proof. I believe you are all capable of shifting the grain from the chaff. You are not just ordinary Nigerians, you are esteemed citizens of our party. And that is why you've been found fit to be showered on this task, this very critical task of deciding who flies our party's flag for the gubernatorial election in 2023.
And that will just be the size of the program perspectives.
The restoration mission largely lies on you, as you have the duty to determine who becomes our candidate. And I know, and I'm convinced that you all know, that nobody fits that toga perfectly like Right Honorable Muhammad Isa Ashiru Kudan.
Dr. Abdulrahaman,
may God
thank you
so
for
help you.
coming on the program this morning and your thoughts here. I'm sure the right messages, taken to the people. And so we'll meet again. We'll come back again. And
after the primaries, when we shall celebrate.
We'll come back again. Dr. Abdulrahaman Usman.
And those who will decamp to APC will decamp again as usual.
He's a PDP stalwart, of course, and we'll give it to him that Public Affairs Analyst with his thoughts about the PDP as a party in the state. And of course, we shared what we see coming out from the national level. We'll come back with perspectives tomorrow. Joy, thank you for connecting us with the people this morning. And Wisdom, we thank you for putting us in the pictures. Perspectives will return tomorrow. Good morning.
We can't stop a baby from teething at 5:30 in the morning, but we can give you the best music in the Treasure Valley.
Wow.
That's music, baby.
I like that.
98.9.